Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the co-founder of a pharmacy that's shaking up the entire industry. You'll meet a true disruptor next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, can you think of an industry that is not going through disruption right now? You think about Airbnb, you think about Uber. Every industry that we've always said that's the way it's always been done is being turned upside down. And one guy who's a part of that is Zach Zeller. He's the co-founder of ScriptCo Pharmacy. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Jeff. I appreciate it.
Okay, now this is one of the final frontiers of industry, because pharmacies, probably since the 1800s, they've always been doing it the same way.
That's right.
Tell us what ScriptCo does.
Yeah, so ScriptCo is pretty simple. We are a fully functioning, high-tech, mail-order pharmacy that's licensed in 48 states plus DC, and we monetize a membership, not medications. And so, simply put, we are the only pharmacy in America selling medications at cost, zero markup. So it's been a ton of fun. Inception to date, we're 3 years and 6 months old, and we're getting to help people every day, which is really fun.
Okay, so tell me the very beginning. How did this come about?
So my co-founder, Mark McCormick, and I own traditional retail-based pharmacies here in Texas. And through a series of unique events, we started comparing the copay of medications to the actual cost of the drug. And a short story on that, my wife was taking a medication called Relpax, and she came to me one day and she goes, "Hey, we're paying $42 per pill for my migraine medication." And I'm like, "Man, that sounds expensive." So I go and look it up in our system, exact same manufacturer, exact same pill, exact same dose, and it's $2. And it makes you go, come on. So after doing a deep dive, we discovered that almost 80% of the time, the copay via your insurance far exceeds the actual cost of the drug when it comes to generic medications. And so once you uncover that, you can't unlearn it. And so we decided that we were going to do something different, and we opened ScriptCo 3 years and 6 months ago.
And you've become something of a media darling. I know you've been featured all over the country. Here's my favorite clip.
All right, well, if you are overwhelmed by the crippling cost of prescription drugs, that could end for you today, apparently.
A first-of-its-kind pharmacy, putting people ahead of profits and saving members, okay, this sounds like a commercial, up to 99% on their drug costs. Steve Noviello here to explain something that does sound a little too good to be true.
I'll tell you what, when we sat down with these guys the first time, I said, listen, you both seem pretty intelligent, but why has nobody ever thought of this before? We're also used to paying high drug prices, right? But take a look, $6,704. That is how much money each year we saved just one viewer who, like 79 million other Americans, is on at least 3 maintenance medications. Here's how it's done. Take a look. The company is called ScriptCo Pharmacy. They are based here in Texas and ship across the country. They dispense every generic on the market, just like you get at CVS or Walgreens. But because they operate outside of insurance plans, there is nobody telling them the price at which they are required to mark up the medication. And because of that, they take the true wholesale cost and pass it on to you. For example, the seizure medication gabapentin costs them 2 pennies per pill. So that's what they charge you. So a 30-day supply is 60 cents. Even with insurance, that's a pretty good deal. They make zero profit on medication. I do want to be clear here. They do ask you to pay a yearly membership fee about $140 for unlimited access.
Oh, well, that's not bad.
Okay, so dollars and cents, if you will, how big can the savings be on some pretty commonly
So
used drugs?
let's start with the biggest savings, right? Because we're always kind of curious about how extreme this is. Take a look. This is Gleevec. This is the generic for a cancer drug. This treats leukemia and other cancers. A 30-day supply is $10,000 out of pocket. That is insane. So how much does it really cost? $35 for the same supply on the wholesale market, a savings of almost $123,000 a year. Atorvastatin, the cholesterol medication that you probably know by the brand name Lipitor, 30-day supply will cost $70.24 at your local pharmacy, but the wholesale cost passed on to you is 54 cents, more than $830 saved every year. And finally, we got a lot of questions about this one, the prostate medication Flomax. 30 days rings up at about $66. The ScriptCo wholesale price is just $1.20. That's more than $780 saved each year. I know what you're asking. What about my medication? Here's the cool part. They have a pricing tool on their website. It's free. You go on, you tell it exactly what medications you're taking. So that way you know in advance whether or not the membership fee is going to pay for itself, and then you can actually save money.
Makes you feel like they're just stealing money from you. Yeah. What about, we've been hearing about another low-cost pharmacy that Mark Cuban's in, Mark Cuban's Cost Plus. How does that compare to this one?
It's a great question. I've seen a lot of headlines about how Mark Cuban opened up a pharmacy here in Texas, and that's really the first big difference. And we've got some video of their website. Cost Plus is not a pharmacy. They are a website. They contract with a third-party pharmacy called TruePill, and right now they only dispense about 120 popular medications. In addition, Cost Plus, from what we can see, sells at their cost that the third party charges them, plus 15%, plus a $3 fee, plus shipping. So it's not at wholesale, but they also don't have that membership fee. So definitely get on there and do the math. I do think that we want to keep an eye on these folks. In fact, we were eager to learn more about their pricing model. We reached out to them several times about this segment, but never heard back. The plan for them in the future is to actually manufacture medication, which I do think at that point may be a game changer. If you want to check out how much you can save today, right now, that ScriptCo free pricing tool is on our station website. And when you come see me online, facebook.com/SaveMeSteve.
I want a list of the people who's deciding how much these things cost.
It's insane. Well, and again, it's not the pharmacists, it's the pharmacy benefit managers and the insurance companies that say, this is what the markup has to look like in order for us to pay for all of this other stuff.
Plus some, obviously. I mean, clearly.
Wow, the numbers in that piece, when people watched it, first of all, what was the reaction from viewers to that Fox 4 piece?
Yeah, I mean, we picked up so many members immediately, and it really kind of started a cascade of effects for us as a very young company. And so we really benefited from it, and we've been able to help thousands and thousands of people now because of it.
Well, you remind me a little bit of Netflix when they were first coming around and they were changing the business model of Blockbuster. You certainly must be upsetting the apple cart. Who doesn't like you?
Yeah, so the biggest apple cart that we're upsetting are the pharmacy benefit managers, and that's an intermediary when you use your insurance that most people don't know exists. But when you go to the pharmacy and you hand the pharmacist your insurance card, they're not actually talking to Blue Cross or Cigna or Aetna or Humana. They're talking to a third party that's hired by your insurance company called a pharmacy benefit manager. And they set the day supply limitations, they set prior authorizations, they set your out-of-pocket expense. They have all these things that they set, but they don't do anything but push paper. But there's 3 large pharmacy benefit managers, and between the 3 of them, they control 80% of the total marketplace and do over $1 billion a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So they're huge.
Well, and why is it that, we watch TV and every year it seems like there's a new call for Congress to do something. We talk about transparency and pricing, but nothing ever gets done.
Yeah. Well, you can imagine when you have the revenue that these middlemen have, they have also very good lobbyists that kind of keep their cash cow in line and walking down the path they want it to continue walking down. So it's a very challenging thing to disrupt.
Okay, so we're going to show some video. This is video that you shot, and I want you to just talk about, have you had any obstacles getting into other states? You're in 48 states right now?
We're in 48 states plus DC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What challenges have you faced along the way?
Really, it's just letting people know that you exist is the biggest challenge. Operationally, it's not hard to run a pharmacy if you have experience doing it. It's just literally wrapping people's minds around going through your insurance is probably harming you if you're on a generic maintenance medication. They're extracting their pound of flesh via that copay. And so we've been programmed very well as Americans that insurance is the best path, and it just isn't when it comes to that class of drugs.
Give me a history lesson. I mean, if we went back 100 years before big insurance companies were involved in pharmacies, was there a big markup a century ago on drugs?
No. The markup really started to happen back when pharmacy benefit managers came into effect in the 80s. And they started out really as a necessary part of the equation, but technology has come so far, they're no longer needed, but they're entrenched. And so they've continued to do things that are beneficial for their shareholders and not necessarily for you and I.
And so, again, the membership fee is, how much do you pay?
$140 a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that is, I don't have a lot of prescriptions, but even a guy like me who doesn't use a lot of prescriptions, it's easy to make back that $140.
Oh yeah, our average member is saving $1,000 a year after they pay for their memberships and their medications. So we're also launching a family membership for $280 a year. You can have 4 people as a member at ScriptCo, and one person can manage it all out of one portal, which is nice.
Wow.
So if mom or dad wants to manage the family medications, one login, manage it all right through that portal. And then we're also launching a business-to-business piece, which is really huge. We have tens of thousands of lives in self-funded employer plans waiting to jump on to ScriptCo.
Wow. When you first came up with this idea, did others laugh at you?
Oh yeah, you get the golden handcuffs in the insurance ecosystem. And so those golden handcuffs, you can make a lot of money, and to leave that ecosystem or that environment is laughable. You tell people, hey, I'm going to get out of insurance and go into cash pay pharmacy, and they're like, bah.
All right, Zach, you're my hero. I love the way you're kind of the Don Quixote, swinging at windmills in the pharmacy world. Final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
Go to ScriptCo.com. Check us out. Quote your medications. That's the other thing. You can take 30 seconds to quote any generic medication in existence, with the exception of controlled substances. And so it's very easy to see if we're a solution or not.
Outstanding. All right, thank you. We're going to end with the website one more time, ScriptCo.com, the great Zach Zeller. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeff.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.